procedure and proper election, specifically the fact that despite the fact that they had been given hundreds of thousands of ballots for yesterday's election, they failed, resulting in many voters having to wait long lines. Worse than that, as election officials and individual voters and my own office attempted to reach out to the Boston Election Department and other Boston officials during the day yesterday, they were not answering the phone. They were not responding to their own employees who were reaching out to them. They were not responding to us, nor were they responding to individual citizens. This is unacceptable conduct, and it will not be tolerated. Unfortunately, this is not new in dealing with the City of Boston's Election Department. In 2006, in a similar circumstance, I was forced to take over operations of the Election Department and place it in receivership. In 2021, during the preliminary election for mayor, we were forced to send people from my office down to Boston at the night of the preliminary election to actually make sure that the counting was reconciled with those that had voted by mail. For these reasons, there has been a long history here that should have resulted in better conduct. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It's unacceptable that voters would have to stand in long lines. The letter that we sent them today notices them that there will be a formal investigation and we will be taking action to assure compliance. In the past, as I said, take responsibility for the operations of the election department. I anticipate that may well be the case again. Lastly, let me mention that we also have a significant email chain that demonstrates the frustration that my office felt and individuals who are reaching out to us felt, and their own employees, that is to say the people who were working the polls yesterday, felt in trying to reach out to them to bring them this attention. You cannot operate an election without answering the phone in the election department, yet that's what they tried to do yesterday. It was only because my office, out of desperation, that active voters who came out yesterday, geographies, for instance, the city of Worcester, the city of Cambridge, that has multiple incorporated into Cambridge. None of them had those problems. The reason is they followed proper procedure. On Monday, my office provided a specific memo to all of them as to exactly how to put the ballots out and when to do it. Obviously, Boston did not comply with that. This action is necessary. We want to assure that going forward, and the election is to be held next year and thereafter, that this situation never occurs again. As I said, unfortunately, I've had to do this before. I'm not going to do it again because we will not allow it to happen again. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Secretary, here's a question. In terms of communications with the Boston Election Department, would you be willing to release those emails without a public record?
Sure, we will. We're happy to do that. I mean, it's public record. It demonstrates not only our frustration, but the frustration of some of the police officers, the frustration of some of the employees that they hired for the day who were trying to reach them, and individual citizens who were expressing their concerns.
And second, you had mentioned that you kept calling yesterday.
My office did, the election division did.
In the subsequent time period to right now, what has the communication been?
Well, we've been in communication today. We sent somebody down. When we called, we also sent somebody down to the premises last night. I had somebody on site last night during the last hours of polling to make sure that people would be able to get the ballots they needed. We also, there was the issue that was raised was extending the polling hours. Well, in many parts of the city, it was necessary to extend them anyways because there were voters at 8 o'clock, and we repeatedly said if people were in line at 8 o'clock, they were going to be allowed to vote. The concern, and it's demonstrated in the emails that we had, was that we would not know the names of people who might have left. We don't think that many people actually left. But fortunately, I think by using the police vehicles and getting it out there as rapidly as possible, we captured most of the people who wanted to vote. And surely, in the 5 to 6 o'clock hour, that gave an additional 2 hours for people to return to their polls, which tend to be right in their neighborhood area. It's unacceptable to vote. The idea, which was being floated at the time, about just extend for a couple that would not have solved the problem. The problem was the inability of Boston to take the hundreds of thousands, and in the letter that was sent them today, it documents exactly the numbers of ballots that they had, to ship them out to their own polling locations. Now, I'm lacking in understanding how this could be. The Boston Election Department has vehicles, vans, employees, but moreover, how do you not communicate with the people you have working for you in a city large as Boston with so many calls? This is not easy to deal with, and hopefully we won't have that happen again, because it won't.
Was this just a matter of it being extremely high turnout and they
No.
miscalculated how many ballots had received?
Well, I don't know. They were given specific instructions, and attached to the letter that we sent them today is the memo they did get on Monday that specifically told them, not just them, that's why I mentioned Cambridge and Worcester, and everyone else, how to do it and what to do. We projected a high turnout. I spoke of that on Monday. So it's no mystery. And they knew there was a high turnout based upon the fact that the number of people who expressed interest in voting by mail and everything else. So there was no mystery to that. That was not a surprise. I don't know. I don't understand why you do that. I mean, communications is a problem. They don't seem to have that. And it's pretty obvious that there is poor management in the city's activities.
I know you're just beginning this investigation, but have you been able to discover why?
Well, we've talked to them, of course. Well, I had somebody on site last night, and as a result of that, we were able to make sure that we kept the polls open and made sure that they were initially only going to send some more ballots out. We said, no, everything, send it all out. Why would we hold them? What are we going to do with them? It's ridiculous, but I don't.
Even with you there, they still weren't.
My representative was there, and they were instructed. I have supervisory authority over all election divisions, and they were instructed very clearly, and the emails demonstrate we told them specifically put it out with police officers' assignments, not because we want to make a show out of it, but to make sure the voters knew they were on their way, and to get the word to the other police officers. Remember, in Massachusetts, there's a police officer in every polling place. We wanted to get the message to those officers, stay here, get the voters to stay there. And they were, unfortunately, it was one of the most remote areas of the city. It was Hyde Park, Jamaica Plain, and the most. So, and that takes longer to get to. That's why we wanted to make sure that happened. This shouldn't happen. As I said, it didn't happen in all the other places we had. Any of which have the same issues. Urban areas, heavy traffic. It's not time to get into